Hello everybody, how are you all doing? Welcome back to Man City Unplugged, your very own Man City fan channel. The transfer window has started frantically, I would say, not in terms of players moving from one club to the other, but especially with regards to City, but a lot of City players being linked with moves away from the club, especially after the UCL win, after the treble win. Like you can see, we are the European champions. I mean, a lot of people I think are a bit surprised. I think a lot of City fans as well are a bit surprised. I think with with a lot of players moving away, especially Kyle Walker is really surprising even to me. It came out of nowhere because I thought that Pep in the last 2 years was trying to play transform Kyle Walker into sort of that center back. He was giving Kyle Walker opportunities to play there, here and there in your Carabao Cups and stuff. It didn't go well against Southampton when we got knocked out this season, but I think Pep was already working on that idea. But I don't think Kyle Walker has those instincts to play solely as a centre back. I mean, he can. He can probably with a few compromises he can, but the problem here is you look at City's defense: Akanji, Ruben Diaz, Nathan Ake, potential incoming of Josko Guardiol, John Stones. So literally, where is Kyle Walker in this pecking order? Especially with this system which Pep has changed with, completely removing the influence of fullbacks. I know that Kyle Walker was instrumental in us going far in the Champions League. Those matches against Real Madrid, Vinicius Junior was like at Bayern Munich also. The second leg, it was just he was so instrumental. But in all those matches, Kyle Walker played as a pure defender. And if Kyle Walker wants to start day in and day out in every match, because that is where the issue seems to be, he maybe prefers more of game time, not regular, but more of game time than he has had this season. I think it's going to be difficult because suddenly you have a Manuel Akanji who's ahead of Kyle. You have these fine defenders who are ahead of Kyle Walker, and since Pep has removed the influence of fullbacks from this system, literally these five centre backs can play anywhere. John Stones, for example, he could play right back. Akanji in the middle, moving into midfield. That can happen. Anything can happen. Akanji, we thought was centre back. He played right back exceptionally well. So anything can happen, and I don't think Kyle Walker gets in ahead of these five centre backs at this age regularly into the team. The reason being, I'm a big Kyle Walker fan. I've it's superb the performances he's been putting for the club through all these years. He was one of the first ones to come in 2017 after Pep's first season and was instrumental in our Centurion season and stuff. And if he played last season, if he played against Real Madrid the entire tie, we would have won that tie. That's the power, that's the drive of Kyle Walker. But you know what's happening? Kyle teams are happy to leave Kyle Walker on the ball. Now, even Nathan Ake has progressed his ball playing skills very well, and teams are happy to leave Kyle Walker on the ball and mark everyone else. So, in that scenario, is Kyle Walker good enough to play those balls into the midfield? Is Kyle Walker good enough to, play those connect with his midfielders and attackers. That's actually the problem here because all of the other centre backs I mentioned, Akanji, Stones, Diaz, everyone they're very good on the ball. So Kyle Walker probably is the most limited on the ball as well. That's out of the five centre backs. That's not his primary quality. So and also I think 33 very pacey player. And also I think when you look at City's policy of dealing with players above the age of 30, of course KDB is an exception, but generally I think City look to be a bit careful, especially when someone is above 32 and approaching those mid 30s very quickly and very fast. City actually tend to approach them with caution. City offer them just 1 year contracts and monitor them their fitness levels on a year to year basis. And with Kyle Walker, the thing is he relies heavily on pace. His defending technique is good, but it relies heavily on pace. And you never know especially when you're approaching your mid 30s, you never know when it might drop. You never know when you might get a big injury, when your hamstring might snap completely, when you might be out, and at that age, when you're out with a long injury, which might happen unexpectedly, your recovery process will not be faster. You will not be the same player again. So, and that could prove even more disastrous for someone like Kyle Walker, who relies much more heavily on his pacing stuff. So I think, again, we are all attached to these players like Bernardo Silva, Kyle Walker, Aymeric Laporte as well. We are attached to all these players. Cole Palmer, not as much, but in a little way. But all of the players who are leaving the club, we are attached to them so much. It feels bad when each of these players leave, because you have sort of lived the good moments and the bad moments together as fans with them. They were there when we were getting knocked out at Monaco and stuff, when we were struggling in the PL and stuff for half a season, for example, this season. So we have experienced the highs and lows throughout this journey. If you, for example, take the journeys of Bernardo Silva, Kyle Walker, Aymeric Laporte, all of their journeys have started together round about that period of 2017, right? And all of them are, it looks like all of them might be heading towards the exit at once, and at the same time, as a fan, it feels bad. You feel bad internally, but you again can't rest on your laurels. The club has to do what it has to do. The club has to, it can't rest on the laurels. Otherwise we'll become what Arsenal became after 2004, and what United became after 2012, 2013. So the club has to move players on, and the best way to move players on, I think, is when you're experiencing success, because that is when it's much more easier to get top dollar for them, and move them on happily. So as sad as it feels, I think, for the greater good of where the club wants to be, for the ambition of where the club wants to be, I think in a way we are witnessing an end of another era. It will not be complete, I know, until Kevin De Bruyne leaves, but you're already in that phase of where you're witnessing the end of an era in terms of Bernardo Silva, Laporte, Kyle Walker leaving. I think Gundogan might possibly leave, so suddenly you're, yeah, there's no doubt you're witnessing the end of another era, an era where City have done the three-peat in the Premier League. City have won the treble. City have won the Champions League for the first time. What a glorious end of an era it would be. And I know Kevin De Bruyne is still there. Probably Kevin De Bruyne is the last standing man from that era, and I think Kevin De Bruyne will retire at City. He can play at the top for, I think, 2 3 more years, and Kevin De Bruyne would retire at City. But this is definitely the going of the old guard, and feels emotional looking back to all of those moments. There, Sterling left last season. Sterling was also with these guys and played a internal massive part, not this season, but from 2017 to last season. So so I think the club has to do what it has to do. We can dwell when this transfer window is closed. We might actually look back upon all of these players leaving and think and actually dwell upon these memories. When Jesus and Zinchenko left last season, when they were part of that thing, right, from 2017 to last season, it didn't feel like an era was ending and stuff. It's Jesus and Zinchenko gone. That's it. But then you see these even more bigger players like a Gundogan, like a Bernardo Silva leaving, especially after what they have done this season. It feels that way. It feels that way. So let us see what happens, and I think probably Kyle Walker will make that move to Bayern Munich. I wouldn't be surprised if he moves to even Spurs or even Saudi clubs, but I think Bayern Munich would be his preferred destination, because man can play at the top for another 1 or 2 years, I think. At Bayern, in a league that is maybe less demanding than a Premier League, maybe has less rigors than a Premier League, maybe where you don't have as much competition like in a Premier League. Maybe Kyle Walker could just focus on the CL, for example, if he goes to Bayern, with not putting, with not having to give, not having to play in the fifth gear all the while, while playing in the Bundesliga. But that would not be the case in the Premier League. When you look at the competition, when you look at teams like Newcastle coming up, Chelsea look monstrous, Liverpool are strengthening. I think it's a good move, and also I mean, if you ask me, the best thing for me would have been for Kyle Walker to stay one more year so that a new right back, whoever is coming in, he could transition well under Kyle Walker, and then probably Walker could leave. But it is what it is. It is. I think it is in the best interest of the club and the Kyle and also Kyle Walker to make that decision if he thinks Bayern Munich is not a bad place to go at all. Bayern Munich, top elite club, one of the top elite clubs, and he'll be united there with Leroy as well. So good luck to Kyle, I would say, if this comes to fruition. But it feels like that this summer transfer window would make us feel more emotional, a little bit tear-eyed at the end as well, because of the kind of players that are leaving and the kind of emotions they've left us with. Anyway, guys, let me know what are your thoughts about it in the comments below, and also do subscribe to the channel, and also do like the video. It helps the video reach far more people due to the way YouTube algorithm is. So do please like the video and also do share the video so that it reaches to a wider audience. See you all, guys, and take care.